Sports Zone starts now. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another action-packed edition of Sports Zone, SportsZone's ATV's most popular show, I should say. We are SportsZone's most popular show as well. I am your host, Ben Florence. We got our main panel to my left. We're going to mix it up. Dylan Choate, our resident Macklemore fan. How you doing, big guy?
Yeah, you know, it's another Tuesday. We got everyone here, though, so it's going to be a good show.
We have almost everybody here.
Almost.
We don't have you, Chris. We miss you. Actually, we really don't. Next to him, the guy who will be going to a Pitbull concert with me in 2 weeks, Michael Gardner. How you doing, sir? Are you excited?
I am, after watching these wonderful commercials. But to say a little bit about the episode, I like the double take on the countdown and the awful intro by Jaron Berman, knowing this episode is going to be nothing but greatness.
Yeah, Jaron just ruined it. And last but certainly not least, Tyler, who I think hates music. What's up with that?
Absolutely, but I want to make one point about the countdown. You guys have to synchronize the countdown. No one can be saying 3 when you're at 5, so get that worked out.
You not only need to synchronize it, you need to harmonize it, because that would be fantastic. You know what was also fantastic? Monday night's national championship game between Louisville and Michigan. Louisville came out on top. It was a thriller throughout. They pulled away late. Michigan forgot how to play late. Tyler, what is your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think what we saw over this Final Four weekend is Louisville's ability to make runs and make them quickly. They were down against Wichita State in the second half, and they got back with their run, with that pressure, to beat Wichita State and advance to the championship. We saw the same thing against Michigan in the championship game. Got down big early, cut it to 1 at halftime, and then ended up pulling away as the game wore on. So I think Louisville, what we saw throughout their season, showed up this weekend at the Final Four.
And Mike, I was actually watching much of the game with you, and unfortunately with some Michigan fans who were breaking furniture, among other things, in McDowell. We apologize for that beforehand. So, but what's your take? Well, what did you see from the game?
Well, Louisville did the little things that you win the tournament well. Rick Pitino had great strategic timeouts, as noted by our boy Steve Kerr and Clark Kelligator. And then three-pointers and guard play helped the Cardinals win. And Luke Hancock coming big in the first half, basically erasing the deficit they had. And then Peyton Siva being a senior leader, carrying the team all the way through. It seemed like Michigan, especially in the second half, sort of panicked. Most of it all went through Trey Burke and put up a lot of really contested shots. The interior wasn't really there for Michigan. Bohannon, on the other hand, was doing a nice job sort of getting every offensive rebound, especially towards that late run. Louisville just did all the little things right. And only half of the 6 games that they won were actually close or had to come from behind. So a lot of people are saying that, it was a fairly easy road they went through, but congrats to Louisville.
Yeah, and
my pick in the Sports Zone bracket.
Well, that's great, but I don't care. But Dylan, Michigan started out really hot. They were hitting a bunch of shots, but it seems like Louisville, as they always do, they really get cranking in the second half. So, what'd you take away from the game?
No, I mean, exactly. Michigan started out strong. It actually started out pretty close early on. It was kind of back and forth for the first few minutes, and then Michigan just started nailing those threes, and Louisville seemed to panic a little bit. And once they started to panic, they were not taking the best shots. They were forcing some shots in there. They weren't getting back on defense because at that point they were trying their full court man-to-man, not really as much of a press as more of a full court man-to-man. And they just kept getting beat. They were getting some kind of they weren't getting the best fouls. They fouled a few guys because of that. So they were just kind of getting beat early. But once that 3-minute mark hit, that's when they turned it on. They erased that 12-point deficit, like you said, and then the second half, it was pretty much just all Louisville. And, I mean, this is what we've seen from them the past few games, especially against Wichita State in that last game. They were down early, but then they just ended up coming out and winning in the end.
Absolutely, but Mike, it seemed like John Beilein turned into Rick Barnes late, just forgetting how to coach, and that the team really mismanaged their foul situation. Beilein thought, because it took him a while to foul, he thought they were already in the 1-and-1 when they took like 20 seconds to foul, and they still had one more to get into the bonus. What's your take on, did Beilein's coaching miscues down the stretch, did that is that what ended up hurting Michigan?
Well, they cut it to. I think Michigan cut it down to 4, and then Siva missed the jumper, and then someone on Michigan stepped on the line. But following the next possession, they left Trey Burke in, and he had 4 fouls. And so all they had to do was just throw it into Siva or Russ Smith, and he couldn't foul. Basically about 12, 15 seconds off the clock. As a coach, I know I would do crisis management slightly better by putting the scrubs in and immediately elicit a full court press. But it's sort of caught in the moment because there was 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
National championship is just in your grasp. Great song at the end of the tournament, though. Shining moment.
Absolutely. Song, recorded by the great David Barrett, originally for the Super Bowl in the late 1980s, but ran long, so he is not dead. But Dylan, a lot of people looked at this coaching matchup. Rick Pitino, a guy who's been there and done that in college basketball, and John Beilein, who's always had a lot of success, but never really at this high of a stage. Did Pitino get the better of this matchup as when Beilein made some of these coaching miscues?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Rick Pitino has been, he's been coaching for a long time now, getting into the Hall of Fame now for being a coach. Congrats to him. But yeah, he knows what he needs to do, and that's what definitely happened throughout the game. He knew when he could pull players off. I don't remember who he sat. He sat someone to start the second half, knowing that if he kept him out and then put him back in the game, he'd be more motivated. So Pitino knew what he was doing the entire time in the game. And then the Michigan coach, I don't know, down the stretch, kind of just made some small crucial errors. But when it's down that late in the game, you're within 4 points. That's when the coaching experience of being in the moment, being in back-to-back Final Fours, all that sort of stuff, you need that experience of coaching. And that definitely just helped Louisville in the end of this game.
Now, but let's move to the good coaching, Tyler, with Rick Pitino. With this championship win, I believe, is third. Second, pardon me, 2 different schools, and that was interspersed by a very successful tenure with Boston Celtics in the 1990s. Where does Rick Pitino rank all time in coaches?
I would put him obviously below Coach K. Rick Pitino always will say that Coach K is the John Wooden of the modern era. So I'd put him below Coach K. I'd put him, I think, in the Roy Williams category.
Jeff Jones category?
Close to the Jeff Jones category. But I put him a notch below Coach K in the Roy Williams category. Maybe I think I put him a little bit above Izzo, but that's 2 national championships with 2 different schools and a second straight Final Four. Very impressive resume he built at Louisville. All
right, guys, good stuff as always. Stay tuned for some more Sports Zone coming your way.
Hello and welcome back. This is Getting to Third Base, the best baseball segment to ever exist ever. I'm hosting again this week. We had a fill-in last week with Andrew Hirsch, but I'm welcomed by the regular crew with Mike Friel and Deepak Bhagat with me here. So what we're talking about this week, we got a lot of things to talk about now that baseball season has started. First thing we're going to talk about is struggling aces. A lot of the pitchers this year, the number 1s, number 2 pitchers, have been struggling to start the season. So, Mike, if you could pick one pitcher right now, who do you think is struggling the most out of all these pitchers that haven't had the best outcome so far in their first few games?
Well, first, I can't believe you placed me with Andrew Hirsch last week, but we're going to move on from that.
It happens, you know.
Not to be a homer, but I'm going to have to go with Roy Halladay because this is a story that's getting national attention at this point. The guy has a 14.73 ERA through his first 2 games. He's given up 17 runs in 14 innings, or no, not 17 runs.
A lot of runs.
He's given up 9 runs.
It was like 9 and 8.
9 through 7 innings. It's an atrocious ERA. He's had MRIs in the offseason that showed he's declined. His rotator cuff's damaged, wear and tear, 3,300 innings. It's a decline of age thing, and it's sad to see. But he's one of the best pitchers in the game. And Philly's GM Ruben Amaro today said that if he has to leave him here for 30 starts with a 14 ERA, he's going to leave him in the entire season and let that ERA go because it's Roy Halladay he's earned at this point. So I think it's a good old school style baseball to see with the trust in the horse to ride him. But it's still sad to see. I think by far he is struggling the most.
He definitely has. And one thing that's interesting about Roy Halladay is he used to be this great pitcher who had pinpoint control and pinpoint accuracy. So everyone was thinking even though he would get older, he would still be able to maybe not throw as fast, which is what has hurt him.
Still adjust at a certain point. I remember in the beginning of his career, he had the worst season of all time for a pitcher. Went down, redid himself mentally, came back up. So the idea is maybe he can do that again. And actually, his first start, he got 10 outs and 9 of them were strikeouts. So that control may be still there sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much control. I think it's his whole fact he was clocking the low 80s for that game. That really threw off hitters.
Yeah.
So it was the fact that it was throwing him off. He left it more in the middle of the zone, which was
Well, that's the thing. He's not only lost his speed, he has lost that control that he was really known for, which is what he was known for.
Right.
He never really threw that fast. It was more of
the
movement,
sync, the
and
cone,
he could
location.
hit his points.
Right.
So Deepak, if you could pick one struggling starter besides Roy Halladay, because I think we kind of exhausted that one for right now.
Yeah.
Pick one other starter that's also struggling so far.
I was gonna go with his teammate Cole Hamels, but I want to kind of also focus on R.A. Dickey, the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. Dickey, 38 years old, went to the Blue Jays. Everyone's like, oh, he's still gonna have a great season because of the offense he has behind him. Not so. I mean, the knuckleball will get hit. It's a turf, like it's one of those older turf fields, so the ball is gonna bounce more. That means if you got a double off him, that thing's gonna go far, hit the wall. And Dickey's control hasn't been there either. Aaron Seaby has had trouble with it. And one suggestion that's popular is the Blue Jays should go out now and acquire the AAA catcher from the Mets, Josh Tolley.
I thought he was in the Blue Jays triple system though.
No.
I thought that was part of the trade that he went with Dickey to Toronto.
I think he stayed with the Mets, but there was someone else who I think went along.
There was another player, but I don't think it was Tolley.
Tolley is now in the AAA system. That's what they need. Tolley caught the guy for the whole season.
Yeah.
There were the share of pass balls, but not as many as like we've seen so far. I mean, you saw the first two starts for Dickey. It's been 7 pass balls. Right?
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot. And I mean, personally, I was one of those people, I didn't think Dickey was going to hold up this year compared to what he did last year. He's moving to a new team. Not to say anything against R.A. Dickey, but based off his past experience, that last year was definitely a come-out-of-nowhere season. And he's going to the AL East. The AL East has had to face Tim Wakefield for the past 15 years.
They're used to it now.
Right.
They know what the knuckleball is. They're used to hitting it. So R.A. Dickey, hopefully he can get it back together. Probably not a Cy Young candidate like he was last year. I'm also going to focus on, you mentioned him already, but I'm going to focus on Cole Hamels. Roy Halladay's, he's been kind of there with the Phillies. They predicted that he would probably be one of their better starters compared to Lee, compared to Halladay, who have kind of been struggling the past few years. Hamels has been young, and for this year, he's just been extremely inconsistent. I think he's given up almost 10 runs. His ERA is
10.46.
It's up there, and the strikeouts just aren't there. So I don't know what's happening with Cole Hamels this year. Hopefully he can get it figured out soon enough, but it hasn't happened this year, and I don't know when he's going to get it back together. So moving from struggling pitchers, we're going to move to people who've had success so far, whether it's teams or players or anything like that. It's only the first week of the season, but a lot of players have looked really good this far. So, Mike, which players or teams do you think their hot start is going to kind of end off and they're going to get back to where they should be or where they're expected to be?
I want to take the easy answer here and go with the Colorado Rockies, who really over the past few years we've seen them have like hot stretches, hot Septembers, and useless seasons. We've seen playoff matchups and all-stars come out of that team, but the 5-2 record they've got out to right now, and they're sustaining a tie for the top of the division. That's not going to last through the end of April. They don't have the pitching staff. They never had a superb pitching staff. They don't have anything close to resembling that now. Like, remember last year they went with the 4-man rotation where they pull up at 75 pitches every game, and it's a mess. It's a rebuilding. They're going to rebuild in a decade at this point. They're not going to contend for a long time, and this is just a false hope for a fan base at this point.
Deepak, another team or another player?
The Mets. The Mets are also a 5-2 team right now, and while it hasn't been so much the hitting that's gotten them there, I mean, is David Wright back to how he was World Baseball Classic? No. He will get back there soon. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind about that. But his name escapes me. The pitcher, the rookie pitcher.
Matt Harvey?
Yeah. Matt Harvey.
He's good.
Matt Harvey's good.
2-0 with a 1.16 ERA right now, and that could last. But like every rookie pitcher, it's gonna be tough for him to keep at that level. So Harvey, while he could still continue on being possibly the Mets' ace, the Mets as a whole, their offense, the rest of their pitching staff won't keep them in the hunt.
No, definitely. I'm going to focus more on an individual player, and I'm going to probably talk about the player that's been the biggest story of the first week of the Major League Baseball season, and that's going to be Chris Davis of the Baltimore Orioles. Now, he had a good season last year. He batted, I think it was around like 270, 280, hit 29 home runs, a good amount of RBIs, had that one win as a pitcher in the 14-inning game against the Red Sox. But he starts off the season, first 4 games, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs. He had more RBIs than the entire Yankees lineup had runs. So I see Chris Davis just not meeting up to that. I mean, he's going to be a good player, but even last year with the Orioles, it was kind of a surprise year. He came from Texas, not being the greatest player, and I can see him maybe pulling this back a little bit, bat around 280, 29 home runs like he did last year. But if he stays up at this rate, I'm thinking maybe he'll bat 300, 35 home runs, but besides that, nothing more. So he's definitely going to slow down. But that's all the time we have for this Major League Baseball segment, getting to third base. We'll see if those predictions that we made of players staying hot, pitchers not doing so well keep up, but stay tuned and watch SportsZone.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Throwing It Up. Lob City, Dunk City, wherever you have it. Shout out to 2 Chainz, left Def Jams, and rolling good with good music. We have a good panel on our hands. I'm your host, Michael Gardner of Fanatic Radio. Yes to Ben Florence on that one. To my left, we have Silas Hill with a very nice AU polo as the AU coaching staff.
Supporting Tiger Woods this week.
Has it all in shambles, except Kieran Donahue, I believe, is the
Kieran Donahue staying solid. Everyone else fired or left.
And everyone's favorite. He's got a few on. All polo. It is Berman of the Post, Jaron Berman. How are you today, sir?
I am fantastic. How are you, Mike?
That's good stuff.
Looking forward to a great panel and some good basketball action, because if the playoffs were to start now, interesting 2-7 matchups in both conferences. As we'll start in the West, it'd be James Harden visiting his old team, the Rockets, taking on OKC. Silas, should Oklahoma City be concerned if they don't get the 1 seed from the Spurs?
Well, they probably won't get the 1 seed. They'll probably rest Kevin Durant. They'll probably rest Russell Westbrook. Give those guys. I mean, it's the NBA. These guys can play at home or away. I think that's one of the biggest myths about the playoff is you need home court advantage to win. It's not true. But this Houston OKC series will probably be one of the most exciting first-round matchups for just anyone to watch, because there'll be 130 points scored in each game.
Yes.
And there'll be dunks. There'll be lobs. It'll be insane, and there'll be absolutely no defense. So if you like offensive run and gun, this is your game. This will be awesome.
Looking forward to it. Now we go to the East Coast. Your team, the New York Knicks, will take on the Boston Celtics. Any reasons for concern? Boston usually comes in with a great defense, which is something you don't see in the NBA as much. But your Knicks have been on quite the win streak, with Carmelo going on a tear. Do you like your Knicks, the clean sweep in the first round, the playoffs were to start today, or the Celtics for 7 games?
I never want to see the Boston Celtics anytime, any place, despite the fact that they've been facing injuries. I think right now they would face the Celtics. I think Indiana would play the Hawks. I'd rather see the Knicks play the Hawks, because the Hawks are are more of an easier team to play. They're not as gritty as the Celtics are. So the win streak the Knicks have had is a gift and a curse, in the sense that they're now in the 2 seed. They might face a tougher matchup. Rather than if they stayed around in the 3 seed, they could have faced the Hawks, which I think they match up a little bit better with. But, I still think the Knicks can beat the Celtics. I just don't think it's as easy as it would be versus the Hawks.
True that. Silas, you're disagreeing. Why?
I mean, well, because it's going to be the Pacers who I feel like are going to be a better matchup against the Hawks, because the Pacers Hawks series will be the one that gets moved to NBA TV, because there's defense being played. Anytime there's defense being played with the Grizzlies, those games all get pushed to NBA TV. Exactly. So you'll just have all these terrible games on NBA TV that actually show defense and show help side defense. But yeah, anytime the Knicks play, you're guaranteed no defense from Carmelo or J.R. Smith. Because even though Melo can win all the scoring titles he wants to, he'll never be able to play defense, because he just sits around the elbow and just kind of stands there looking around like, where's everybody else going? Because that's Carmelo Anthony for you. He's the laziest player in the NBA, next to Josh Smoot.
He's the leading scorer right now.
Isn't that what I just said? Isn't that what I just said?
Yes.
He scored more points in 3 games than Bernard King did.
Legend.
That's a record. That's a
Beefalo
record.
knows Bernard King. But now we'll go to the West of the Denver Nuggets, who are currently the 3 seed. Have Danilo Gallinari and Ty Lawson currently hurt, potential misses for the playoffs. They would face the Golden State Warriors with their full T-shirt jerseys. Would Golden State be the good upset in the West?
Well, since this is another team, the Golden State Warriors, who can't seem to get their defense in line.
Even with Andrew Bogut.
Shout out to Kirk Goldsberry for showing that David Lee is the worst interior defender in the NBA. He's god awful. So if he goes up against someone like Ty Lawson, who can drive the paint, dish off to get JaVale McGee, dish off to all those three shooters, they really shouldn't need Danilo Gallinari. They'll just have to, on defense, tighten up against Harrison Barnes, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. If they can show good perimeter defense, which this team really can, and Gallinari isn't really known for his perimeter defense. He's known more for a spot-up three shooter, big man who can drive the basket. So I think it'll be a good series, but it'll probably be Denver in 5.
Jaron, you have Golden State for the upset alert, don't you?
If the Nuggets don't have Lawson and Gallinari, they're finished. I would pick Golden State at 5. Those are the two best players. You're not going to be able to recover from that.
All right, and another interesting fact that many are aiming for is the scoring champ. It would be Kevin Durant or Berman of the Post's Carmelo Anthony.
Kevin Durant.
Carmelo.
All right, all of the parity we have on this panel, as much like our offense, out of control, but we end up scoring 150 points a game.
We always finish.
With no defense, but that's throwing it up as we will do a bounce pass back to SportsZone after this.
Hey there, welcome back to SportsZone. We got some more action coming your way. We got the main panel back here, and we are going to talk. We're going to have 2 segments of All in All because there's just so much to cover and so little time. So little time, Great Mary Kay and Ashley TV show, by the way. I remember that. But anyways, so first up, this weekend, a little golf tournament called the Masters, only the most prestigious golf tournament in the world. Tyler, our resident golf expert. A lot of people liking Tiger Woods because he's been unbelievable. He's number 1 for the first time in a couple years. Rory McIlroy's in the mix. Mickelson, Bubba Watson, reigning champ. Got the other guys as well. Who you got this weekend?
A lot of people liking Tiger Woods, but I am not one of them.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Phil to take it
Whoa!
home this weekend in Augusta. But you do have Phil, Tiger, Rory. Those are 3, obviously, the big names. The ones people are going to be focusing on. But I think you also have to focus on Luke Donald and Lee Westwood.
Absolutely.
Always hovering around the top 10 in the world golf rankings. Still have not won a major. Colin Montgomery came out today saying the time is now for Westwood to win the Masters and break through. So I think Westwood and Donald are 2 guys to focus on, see where they end up this weekend.
Maybe Matt Kuchar as well, who finished very strong last year. Mike Gardner, who you got?
I'm not going to go mainstream.
Really?
I feel like it's going to be someone like random. Like the year Angel Cabrera won it.
Don't hate on Andrew Cabrera.
I'm hating on him.
Yeah,
I'm
like
just
smoke
saying.
on the course.
Schwartzel.
Exactly.
Charles Schwartzel.
Someone like that. I think it's Masters is always ebb and flow, where big guys make their way up into the final day. It's always that one wild card.
Absolutely.
Don't know who it is.
So just take the field.
Well, the field. That's like 100+ golfers.
Yeah, but because like you said, there could be really, who picked Charles Schwartzel?
Exactly.
I'm sure more people picked Charo than Charles Schwartzel. That's a terrible joke.
Right-handed golfer will
But-
win. How about that?
You're awful, Dylan. Please rescue.
Vijay Singh.
Save this segment.
All
Hey,
Chase.
I'm gonna have to stay with kind of the masses here on this one. I think Tiger's gonna end up winning this, just kind of on the roll that he's been on recently. Rory McIlroy has kind of fallen off a little bit. Hasn't won a major championship in a while. I don't think Bubba Watson's gonna repeat. Not that Bubba Watson came out of nowhere last year, but he kind of was unexpected to win it. But I can definitely see Tyler's picking Phil Mickelson. Those are always going to be up there, but I think on the roll that Tiger's on, everything that's just going, it seems like everything in his life is going right for him right now. So watch for Tiger to win it again.
All right, but nobody picked Rory McIlroy, who I'm going to go with. But there's also.
Walked out in a tournament.
I don't care. That was like a month ago. Anyways, you're ruining my segue. So we're going from Rory McIlroy to Rory Gilmore, who lived in New England. And we're going to talk a little bit of the New England Patriots. Rob Gronkowski, SportsZone legend, but it seems like he's going to need surgery again on his forearm. Dylan, you're a resident Patriots fan. What's your take?
So for all those loyal SportsZone fans, they'll remember a few weeks back when I think it was something like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, I gave a thumbs down to Rob Gronkowski for everything that he was doing. Sorry for hating on you, Gronkowski, but just right now, possibly needing a 4th surgery. If he woke up one day and his arm was swollen, all this sort of stuff, called New England, they shipped him back, or they planed him back over here. We'll see what's going on with this. The problem with this is they don't know if he's going to be ready to start the season. And when it's such a big player like Rob Gronkowski, the fact that
Literally.
what he takes away, yeah, literally, he's a big guy. He takes away so much from that offense because Hernandez hasn't been consistent either because he's constantly been injured. And them losing Welker, them losing a lot of other players like Woodhead, losing Rob Gronkowski to start the beginning of the season could definitely hurt them in the early going. So hopefully, if he does need surgery again, that it'll kind of not take as long to rehab. Maybe he'll just miss a few weeks, but it's definitely going to hurt the Patriots season, especially at the beginning.
Mike, Rob Gronkowski, forearm problems. You've had forearm problems. What's your take?
Well, that's why mine's taped up right now.
Exactly.
Special I voted plug.
There you go.
Shout out to PK, our new president. But
Sure.
he could potentially go down as one of the greatest tight ends to, I guess, never was if he keeps getting all these injuries. And what Dylan was saying was his thumbs up, thumbs down. Those 3-4 weeks ago, I think he got hurt dancing again.
Probably.
Don't feel like
Probably.
dancing.
I know, right? Not like our wild experiences that we've had. But
I'm sorry. Love Scissor Sisters.
But I want Gronk to come back healthy. He's a
Great
huge
man.
staple in the NFL as one of the not loudmouths, but one of the biggest
Personalities.
Yes, I was gonna say flamboyant, but that too makes the Patriots offense click, especially with Danny Aiello now in the mix. Things can get
Danny
rocky.
Aiello?
Oh, what's it? No, as he's an actor.
Danny Aiello
who's
lives
the
in the
guy
town
from-
next to mine. He was from
Does he really? Who's the guy from the Rams that they got?
Danny Amendola.
Danny Amendola.
Yes.
Danny Aiello. Tyler.
Sister
Again,
Tyler.
please. Gardner's had an
Yeah,
awful
well, two
second
things
quickly.
about the Gronkowski injury problems. They could have cost the Patriots 2 Super Bowls. Now, you got Bernard Pollard in that first game, the AFC Championship game, that led into the Super Bowl, where the Giants knew he was a decoy, a complete non-factor. They weren't even shading to him. This postseason against the Ravens, he ended up not playing after getting injured in the Texans game. Those are 2 Super Bowl runs that maybe Tom Brady and Bill Belichick could have added had they had the talents of Gronkowski. So we'll see if he's ready for Week 1.
Shoulda, coulda, East, woulda. More sports on the way.
Hello and welcome to Ice Time. This is SportsZone's NHL hockey segment. Yes, we do have an NHL hockey segment. And yes, to remind our viewers, the NHL is still in season. They did not cancel the season. I know that many of you were probably confused about it, but it's been going on since January, so got to keep reminding our viewers of that. Anyway, I'm Erin Vale. To my left is Ben Florence and Deepak Bhagat, who is returning from missing SportsZone last week. So, well, you weren't here for the hockey segment.
Sorry.
You should be sorry.
Fine,
There's a lot of apologies that need to be said this evening on SportsZone.
A lot.
It's been pretty hostile so far, so just a little behind the
I
scenes.
wonder why.
I'll drop my name. I apologize.
Anyway, we will move on to actually talking about the sport of ice hockey,
Thank
founded in Canada in 17 or 1800s. Great sport. Anyway, okay, first on the chopping block, we will discuss the trade deadline, which passed last week, Tuesday, Thursday, a day last week. I believe it was Thursday. So, Ben, what teams do you think made the biggest impact on the trade deadline? Go.
I really like, and I'm going to agree with my good friend Mike Milbury, I love what the Pittsburgh Penguins did. And especially they were able to guard themselves for the unfortunate Sidney Crosby injury, or fortunate, depending on what side of the spectrum you are. But they did a very good job getting good players. Jerome Ginla, one of the crown jewels of their package. So Pittsburgh did a really solid job, and they're prepared to make a deep run in the Eastern Conference.
Deepak?
Flyers didn't make a big trade. Sent Michael Layton for Steve Mason. Not really a great thing. Both guys were amateur. Layton had his lucky season back in 2009.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky postseason in 2009.
Nope.
I will say though, I agree with Ben on the front of the Penguins, despite my deep hatred for them.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at someone like the Penguins, if they want, they can get almost whoever they want via trade, via free agency, because unfortunately they're one of those elite teams.
They are the Patriots of the NHL, as we have said before. So,
Well,
That's
Patriots
great.
cheat, though.
yeah, that's
They
true. Well, the
cheated
Penguins
5 years
just
ago.
stack up
Once.
players
The Yankees
like
do.
unreal.
Don't hate on the
Well, I hate
Yankees.
the
The
Yankees
Yankees are
as well.
awful.
So,
Sorry.
anyway, let's get back to talking about hockey,
Why are
which
we
is a
talking
great
hockey?
segue. Actually, you mentioned Sidney Crosby. Yesterday in the afternoon, a picture of Sidney Crosby surfaced after he came out of the hospital, or he was just walking around, and his bottom teeth are pretty much all missing. So it's a pretty gruesome picture. Did not make things better for Sidney Crosby. Just would like to point that out. He's still a few weeks away from returning to the ice, but it was all over social media Sidney Crosby's actual hockey smile. So I'm sure he's going to be missing those teeth. Anyway, so now let's talk about playoff picture. As Deepak mentioned, Pittsburgh is number 1 in the East, pretty solid. Don't think anybody is going to be able to overtake them.
No, ma'am.
But the bottom of the East, the playoff race, is going to get pretty interesting. Right now in 8th, I believe, is the Islanders.
Yes, ma'am.
Below them is
The Devils.
the Jets,
In 9th.
the Devils, I think the Sabres, Flyers,
Capitals
and then it doesn't really
are
matter who's
in
below
3rd.
them because none of those teams are really going to make a push. But who do you think is going to sneak in? What do you think is going to be shaken up in the 6, 7, 8, I'd say, spots in the East, Ben?
You know, I hate to say it because I'm a Devils guy, but the Devils are probably not going to make the playoffs. The offense has been miserable, and we've been awful of late, and there's way too much pressure on Martin Brodeur, and while he can deliver, I don't think he can carry the team. The team I really think is actually going to make the playoffs, crazy as it sounds, New York Islanders have been playing very solid hockey. They've got a very easy stretch, or very easy slate of games remaining down the stretch. So I think the Islanders are going to actually make the playoffs for the first time since former Sabres coach Ted Nolan led them there back in 2005. So,
Which the Sabres beat them in the first round. But that's a
well,
different
there you
story.
go.
Deepak, who do you think in the top 8 in the East? So that'd be, Pittsburgh, I think Carolina's up there, the Rangers. Who
Washington's
do you
in
think
3rd.
is going to slip from the top 8 maybe to make room for that 8th seed to slip in?
It's gonna be hard.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay. I actually don't see much of a slip there. To be completely honest.
Besides the Penguins, obviously. They're pretty much
Well, yeah,
solid, sadly.
Who'd you mention was in 8th again?
The Islanders?
The Islanders are in 8th.
Yes.
Rangers are in 7th.
So I think I see the Rangers going down to 8th. Islanders not making it.
Really?
Yes, and I actually see the Devils
Hey,
probably make it.
good man.
I mean, they lost in a shootout to the Sabres the other night, so
Yeah,
that says a lot about a team
I
if
did
they lose
cry.
to the Sabres.
I did cry.
Look, as long as
A lot of hate
as
on
long as I
Twitter.
see the Flyers aren't going to make it, despite me being a Flyers fan, I think we can all just.
Okay.
Hey, at least the Caps
Let's-
are probably
how
going to
about-
make it for
no,
Addison Lions.
No, let's move it to the West. I know we don't really
Hey,
like
the
to do it, but there's also playoff implications on the line for these next 10 or so remaining games. I believe Phoenix is in the 9th spot. The Red Wings are in 8th, and then there's a tie for the 10, 11, 12 spot. So do you think that the Red Wings can hold on to that 8th spot, or do you think that one of the other teams like Phoenix might sneak in there?
I think if Phoenix is going to sneak in, they're going to need Mike Smith to really capture the magic of last year. I don't see that happening. I mean, the Red Wings, they're old, they're aging, but they are very experienced. They know how to get it done. And I really think the Red Wings are going to be able to hold on.
Deepak, your thoughts?
Red Wings holding on, barely though, by game. It won't happen.
Okay. All right, and also speaking of the Red Wings,
handshake,
news has
good
come out
handshake.
that next year's Winter Classic will be played between the
There you
Detroit
go.
Red Wings and Toronto Maple Leafs. Original 6 matchup, really, really good for the sport. The Winter Classic, obviously, if we can recap, started the first Winter Classic game was played between the Sabres and the Penguins at
And who
Ralph
won?
Wilson Stadium.
And who won?
So it was rigged by the NHL, but that's a completely different story.
I disagree.
Ben, what do you think that the Toronto Red Wings matchup is going to give to the viewers of the NHL?
Well, I think it'd be a big win for viewers, not just in the United States, but especially to the TV networks up north, because they always complain because the Detroit's in the West that they don't get in a lot of Detroit markets. Detroit, very close to Canada. It's actually right. It's not that far from Toronto. So Detroit, Toronto, big win for everybody.
Deepak?
It's going to be a good game. Like you mentioned, the original 6. The Red Wings, I think, were in the Classic in 07, 08.
Mhm.
Yeah, they've definitely been in it.
Chicago.
So after a short hiatus, they're making it back there. It'll be a good game. Good game. You have to see how it turns out because
That's a year from now. Hopefully they won't lock out the NHL again, am I right?
They will not. I guarantee it. I
This
don't
is
get
fake
it.
laughter. Okay,
I thought it
well,
was
this
real.
is all the time we have for Ice Time,
Hello,
but
Dylan.
stick around, watch hockey. Please watch hockey.
Wait,
no
I thought hockey
lockouts.
was in lockout.
Watch
baseball.
Sports Zone.
Yes.
Watch ATV, but mainly watch Sports Zone. Keep it locked.
ATV sucks. Folks, welcome back. It's now time for our favorite segment to conclude the show. Thumbs up graphic, thumbs down graphic. basically what's good and what sucks going on right now. Dylan Cho, eat us off.
Hey, we're going to go with some thumbs up this week because for once in a while, I don't have many thumbs down, which I guess is a good thing. But thumbs up is going to go to a large majority of the Sports Zone cast being here today. It always helps when we have more than one person on camera. We have a lot of people in the back to give us a hand. So thumbs up for everyone showing up and getting on TV today. That's a great job. Another thumbs up is going to go to Will Middlebrooks of the Boston Red Sox. Came up last year, had some pretty good, had a good time up last season. Gets injured, has to sit out the rest of the season after they trade Euclid. And not my favorite part at that point. But this year, had a game a few days ago where he hits 3 home runs, goes 4 for 5 with 3 home runs, and I think a double or a single in there, and almost hit a 4th home run, but it got caught in the warning track. He joked after the game that he thinks that the staff at the Rogers Center turned on the air conditioners and to help blow the ball in afterwards.
Canadians.
But this is his second multi-homer game in his young career. Hopefully he can keep this going. He's a great young third baseman, and we'll see what happens throughout the rest of his career. And another thumbs up is going to go to Sports Zone basketball this weekend. It was a lot of fun. We had a good amount of people show up. Not everyone could make it for some reasons, but it was a lot of fun. We were able to get 5 to 6 games in there, some 4-and-4. Picked up an extra guy here, here or there. Mike, thumbs up to you for joining us and sticking along. But it was just a great time of playing some basketball. I know a lot of us were pretty sore the day afterwards from playing, but that's what's going to happen. But that's it. No thumbs down this week.
Wow, Michael Gardner.
Thumbs up to Dylan Schutt for having no thumbs down. We love the positivity here in the Sports Zone. Thumbs up to the weather. As soon as Monday hit, it was like 70 and above. Feels like home, which only means one thing: the weather gets hotter and the shorts get shorter. If you know what I mean, B-Flow. Also, thumbs up to day drinking. Make sure to drink plenty of water. I got away from that one, didn't I? And thumbs up to Sports Zone basketball. Great adventure to go out and play. It's my exercise for the week, for the month. Very competitive games. We had good matchups. Thumbs up to Dylan again. Great
Dylan
post
getting a
move
lot of love.
by him. Yes,
Getting a lot of
says
love.
the sweet touch. And also thumbs down. Thumbs down to the hate of the sports marketing. As we know, David Aiello and Chris Hudgens, sports marketing and activation is key. And
What?
shout out to, activation. Isn't that what it is?
Yep, that's what it is.
Yep, so the NRA and Texas Motor Speedway. NRA actually was a sponsor back when the track was founded in '97. So they've always been sort of a subsidiary partner. And we'll be returning back. Looking forward to chilling with Lewis Moore and the crew. Really excited for that.
All right.
Shout out to Fnac Radio as always.
You don't have to do that.
And thumbs up to Beeflo 360's birthday.
No.
Yes.
Why do you steal my thumbs?
Yes.
Tyler, go.
Okay.
You're done.
Before you steal any more.
Mute button.
Thumbs up is going to go to the Final Four. 3 great games this weekend in Atlanta. Usually you get 1 dud. Sometimes you get a bad national championship game. This time, all 3 games were really good, really exciting, a lot of fun to watch, especially that Michigan-Louisville game on Monday. Up and down the court, great job. Before, when Dylan alluded to, some people weren't there, there was one person that wasn't there at Sports Zone basketball, and that was Jaron. So I know Dylan was trying to cover it up, but no, Jaron just wasn't there. So thumbs down to him, and also thumbs down to the fashion today. We got Jaron with spray paint polo. We got Ralph Lauren.
Polo everything.
We got Ralph Lauren. Then we got Friel with some yellow shorts. So thumbs down to that. And also, I got to give a thumbs down because we will not see it anymore. But Jaron's hosting last week, possibly the worst hosted segment in the history of Sports Zone. Very awkward, very unclear with his hosting style. So thankfully, we will not be seeing it again.
Yeah, it was even worse than when I first hosted a segment last year. That's just, Jaron, you've got no talent. But first, we're gonna go with thumbs down. 2, I'm gonna say this: the weather, because even though it's been fantastic, it's like kind of like the high 80s, early 90s. Like, are we not gonna have spring? What is this madness? This is insane. I'm sorry, but actually, I didn't really have a thumbs down, so I just thought I'd make one up on the fly. Big thumbs up to myself, Beeflo 360 as Mike, because he likes to ruin everything that I try to do.
Throw your noob.
No.
You gotta slam it in, big fella.
Are you gonna stop? You gotta stop interrupting me. But anyways, the blog turned 3 years old on this past Saturday. It's made me money And it's been very successful. I know people are actually reading it. We're pulling up on 750,000 views all time. So eat it, Mike! And other thumbs up, too. We actually had, like as Dylan said, very good crowd this week. Aaron actually just bailed to get food. I mean, really, this is a team, but, you know, well, that's what they told me. So it turns out actually Aaron is still here. So thumbs down to me.
And angry, I might add.
Well, I mean, come on. Thumbs down to Jaron for his inappropriate actions right now. But that's also the end, fortunately, of another great episode of Sports Zone for our cast and crew: Dylan Schote, Mike Gardner, Tyler Tamea, Mike Friel, Jaron Berman, ruining the countdown, Brian Shin, Aaron Vale, I'm sorry, I guess. Silas Hill in a mix. Haven't seen him in a while. Good to see him. Alex Reese. Haven't seen him in a while. Good to see him as well. Willoughby Dobbs helping us out as well. The legend. Kyoko Rhodes, our great editor. I am Deepak Bhagat. I don't know how I almost forgot Deepak. I'm sorry. Am I forgetting anybody else?
Kex.
I just said Kyoka.
The X Factor.
Kex is the X Factor. So, and for anyone else,
Eldab? Oh, no, that's right. He doesn't work here.
Yeah. Eldab is not part of the show anymore. Neither is Andrew Hirsch. But on that note, for everybody else here at ATV, I'm Ben Florence. Thank you for watching. You are watching ATV.